呀，结婚真的可以加学分吗？妈呀，那我扣了那几分是不是都能补回来呀？
你听谁说的呀？
学校现在都传疯了，不要结婚了，你就加学分，生小孩加倍加分。我觉得我有希望了。
The economic and population crises are pressing issues that the Chinese authorities are compelled to face and resolve urgently. What should be done about the plummeting birth rate and the fact that young people are not getting married? Efforts from top to bottom need to be mobilized. We've seen suggestions from experts at the National People's Congress in recent years that marriage should be encouraged from a young age, proposing that the 18-year-olds should be able to get married. On university campuses, the changes are even more drastic. A decade ago, college students were not allowed to marry, and pregnancy could lead to expulsion. Now, in a 180-degree turn to boost marriage rates, colleges in mainland China are awarding an extra academic credit to students who get married. One blogger even shared a photo of herself taken during her pregnancy at her graduation. Zhengzhou Business College went a step further, offering fully equipped maternity rooms for students with children, akin to those in hotels, demonstrating a tremendous effort to encourage marriage and childbirth. However, many netizens believe that university students who are yet to step into society and whose views on life and values are still in the process of formation might be acting too hastily by marrying and having children just for academic credits and other benefits. Marriage is a lifelong commitment. Wouldn't a more thoughtful approach be better? So why are authorities so keen on promoting marriage and childbirth? It's because there's a real crisis. Kindergartens are now struggling with declining enrollments. And with the impending closure of many of these institutions, primary, secondary, high schools and universities could be next. Industries related to maternity and childcare like training institutions and stores will also likely collapse, triggering a domino effect that's too frightening to contemplate. Recently, a screenshot has been widely circulated on mainland Chinese social media depicting the kindergarten enrollment situation in the Pidou district of Chengdu City in Sichuan province. This chart reveals that government-run public kindergartens, once highly sought after by parents, are struggling to fill their slots, with many even reporting zero enrollments. Some netizens have described the situation as terrifying. This is first-hand evidence of the so-called cliff-like drop in China's birth rate. Public kindergartens offer stable teaching resources and good conditions for learning. Endorsed by the government, they tend to earn more trust from parents. In comparison to privately run kindergartens, whose fees can vary significantly, public kindergartens adhere to a uniform pricing standard set by the government. This often makes them more affordable and thus more appealing to many parents. However, public kindergartens only admit students once a year, and the number of slots available is limited. This creates a situation of more monks than porridge, where parents go to great lengths, including leveraging personal connections to get their children admitted. However, this phenomenon is fading. As private kindergartens are closing one after another, public kindergartens are also struggling with declining enrollments. The aforementioned chart of kindergarten enrollment in Pidou district shows the top-ranked kindergarten planning to enroll 175 students, but only 36 have applied. The second-ranked kindergarten planned to admit 125 students, but only 26 applied. The situation worsens further down the list, with several kindergartens reporting zero enrollments. This isn't a cliff-like drop, it's a complete wipeout. Analysts suggest that the current wave of closures is just a prelude, with the climax yet to come. According to data, in 2017, the birth population was over 17 million, but by 2022, it had dropped to 9.56 million. For 2023, some estimate it will only be 8 million, falling to levels last seen in 1929, a reduction of more than half compared to 5 or 6 years ago. According to a report by the official CCP media on June 2nd, data shows that the birth rate for one child in China dropped from 0.7 in 2019 to 0.5 in 2022. This means that only one child is born per 2 couples. The average age of childbirth has also increased from 26.4 years to 27.4 years old. The report adds that the contribution of second and subsequent children to the birth rate has reached over 40%. The number of families willing and able to have a first child is noticeably decreasing, which will further reduce the birth rate of a second or third child, exacerbating the trend of falling fertility rates. Some netizens comment that a one-child birth rate of 0.5 is extremely low, but it might possibly be the highest for the next decade. Apart from a small number who can enter state-owned enterprises and government departments, most of those who enter private companies can only work until around 40 before facing the risk of layoffs. Then they must shoulder the heavy burdens of mortgage payments, medical costs, and child rearing on their own. Given these circumstances, could this birth rate of 0.5 for one child be the highest for the next decade? The collapse of kindergartens and the subsequent unemployment of preschool teachers are merely the first links in this chain. As previously reported, after one kindergarten closed down, it transformed into a barbecue restaurant, with the teachers turning to selling grilled food. Soon such stories may lose their newsworthiness. Following kindergartens, primary and secondary schools and universities are expected to face difficulties in recruiting students and may even shut down. This forms a domino effect. This year, over 10 million students graduated from universities. However, if the decline in birth rates cannot be curbed, within a few years, even if every child were enrolled in a university, there would still be a shortfall of nearly half. What about maternity stores, the children's clothing and toy industry, tutoring centres? Just think about the number of unemployed people this situation could create. Can all these sectors survive this? Everyone probably has their own answer. Of course, what many people are most concerned about is, what about the real estate market? The decline in Chinese property prices has already begun. Some say the Chinese property market is hiding its troubles, but the chill can be felt by everyone. Recently, both the price and volume of the Chinese housing market have been in decline. This trend is evident even in the leading first-tier cities, regarded as having the strongest resistance to property market downturns. Both new and second-hand housing transactions have collectively plummeted. The housing oversupply in China is becoming increasingly severe. We have analysed this issue on numerous occasions, so we won't go into further detail here. However, with the decrease in population, this oversupply problem will only become more critical. With a decline in population, the domino effect may swiftly follow. The Chinese government, media, and experts are anxious and have initiated an official top-down procreation campaign. Years have passed since the loosening of restrictions to allow a second child, to the full-on permission for 3 children. Yet the birth rate has not increased, but instead decreased. This implies that the Chinese government is at its wit's end in face of the population crisis, with its procreation promotion bearing minimal results. There have been quite a few amusing incidents amidst all this. On May the 20th, 2023, Caijing.com reported a piece of news. For the past 1.5 years, 8 post-millennials from Zhejiang University of Technology formed a research team, conducting surveys in communities, kindergartens, and maternity hospitals across Zhejiang, targeting the youth and middle-age group aged 18 to 35. They collected a total of 1,466 valid surveyed questionnaires, and the results showed that nearly 80% of people have a willingness to have children, primarily because they like children. In response, one netizen mocked on Weibo, "Indeed, everyone wants to date, get married, and have children. The 80% figure is realistic, but the truth is people can't afford to date, get married, and have children. This is also 80% true." Another said, "Nonsense. We should live for the moment, deal with tomorrow's worries tomorrow. Children and grandchildren have their own fortunes. If I don't have children or grandchildren, I'll enjoy the fortune." This is the real thought of more than 80% of young people. Another netizen mockingly responded, "Hello everyone, my name is 80% and I'm the one who said it." When news of this survey was released, some media also conducted the same survey online, but the results were completely the opposite of the previous survey. Under the question, "Do you want to have children?" 19,000 people answered no, and only 2,591 people answered yes. The same survey content had completely opposite results on the internet compared to the news report's conclusion. What does this mean? Let's take a look at obstetrics and gynecology. In March 2023, China Newsweek, known for its investigative journalism, published a report titled "Birth Rate Drops, Obstetrics Rolling Up." An undercover reporter visited the Dongbao district of Beijing's first hospital of integrated Chinese and Western medicine, where queues lined up outside every department except for the obstetrics and gynecology waiting area, which only had 2 people. When asked about the availability of pregnancy registrations, the triage nurse said there was ample quota, but reminded the reporter to consider carefully because the hospital's obstetrics department could be revoked at any time and merged into another hospital. As to why the obstetrics department was being withdrawn, she did not provide further information, only stating that the gynecology department would be retained. The Dongbao district of Beijing's first integrated traditional Chinese and Western medicine hospital, originally named Dongbao Hospital, was renamed in 2012. A specialist in the field of obstetrics and gynecology revealed that Dongbao Hospital's obstetrics department was once very glorious, with an annual childbirth volume of 3,000 to 5,000, which dropped to about 1,800 during 2014 to 2016, but plummeted to less than 150 last year, shrinking by 90%. Dongbao is not the only one facing an obstetric crisis. Beijing Henghe Hospital is a high-end private secondary hospital, but in recent years the number of obstetric patients has declined, so it can no longer operate and will be acquired by Amcare Women's and Children's Hospital, a leading private obstetrics hospital. According to informed sources, the acquisition is in a state of being finalized, but the agreement has not yet been signed. October 2016 was the peak of our hospital's childbirth volume, with about 300 babies delivered, an average of 10 per day. I remember one night I basically didn't rest, received 7 labouring women and performed 4 caesarean section surgeries, recalled Wang Xia, the deputy chief physician of Beijing Dongcheng District Maternal and Child Health Hospital. As for now, the monthly birth volume is only about 30 or 40, only 1/5 of a few years ago. The drastic drop in birth rate cannot possibly be due to a single factor. Let's take a look at the marriage rate. The date, May 20th or 520, has been dubbed Online Valentine's Day in China due to its phonetic similarity to I love you in Chinese. Many couples choose to register their marriages on this day. Despite seeing a small peak in marriage registrations during recent 520, it's noteworthy that the number of registrations in many places on 520 this year saw a substantial drop compared to last year. On May 22, 2023, economist Ren Zheping posted partial marriage registration data for 520 on Weibo, showing a cliff-like drop in registration numbers in many places compared to 2022. Among them, Hunan province experienced a steep drop of 74%, sparking public discussion. The data shows that in Jiangsu, there were 11,156 couples this year compared to 15,003 last year, a decrease of 25.6%. In Guangdong, 12,450 couples compared to 20,892 last year, a decrease of 40.4%. In Sichuan, 16,000 couples compared to 25,000 last year, a decrease of 36%. In Fujian, 6,270 couples compared to 10,159 last year, a decrease of 38.8%. In Guizhou, 6,873 couples compared to 14,876 last year, a decrease of 53.8%. In Hubei, 9,455 couples compared to 17,717 last year, a decrease of 46.6%. In Hunan, 4,576 couples compared to 17,595 last year, a decrease of 74%. A popular Weibo writer and headline author for Sina blog, Hai Ling, wrote, "People cannot afford to marry, bear children, and even less to raise them, as the future remains uncertain for everyone. Young people are having a hard time. It's tough for college graduates to find work, and the workplace for middle-aged people is even more challenging. With housing loans, car loans, various credit cards, to be honest, there is no sense of security. We cannot provide anything for our partner, and living decently by not bringing hardship to others seems the best option." Others have said, on the one hand, there are widespread wage cuts and unemployment. On the other hand, housing prices and betrothal gifts refuse to decrease, not to mention the future cost of raising children. If the GDP growth was previously reliant on mortgaging the future 2 or 3 decades worth of housing loans, it is now unreliable and only reliant on the internal competition among young people. The more they compete, the poorer they get, leading to fewer marriages and childbirth. It's a vicious cycle, all for the sake of GDP.